Believe in your infinite potential. Your only limitations are those you set upon yourself. Believe in yourself, your abilities, and your own potential. Never let self-doubt hold you captive. You are worthy of all that you dream of and hope for. A very pleasant morning to one and all. We welcome our Superior General of the Congregation of MSFS, Reverend Father Abraham Vettivelil, Provincial of Nagpur Province, Reverend Father John Brito Muthuswamy, General Counselor in charge of Education, Reverend Father Jacob Karmakuyil, our Director, Reverend Father Domi Thomas, our Principal, Reverend Father Anthony Amladas, our Office Administrator, Reverend Father Peter Thomas, Father Councillors from all 7 provinces of India, our esteemed panel of judges, teachers in charge of the participating schools, our coordinators and finalists. We welcome you to the second All India Father Peter Mermier Inter-Province Debate Competition 2021, organized by St. Francis de Sales School, Janakpuri, New Delhi. It is indeed a matter of great pride and immense pleasure to see the Francilian fraternity gathered on one platform to put their views forward on the topic Digital Learning, Empowering the Classes, Alienating the Masses. The disparities that digital chasm brings along between the privileged and the deprived might be glaring. But still, every dark cloud has a silver lining. Even amidst the pandemic, technology enables us to connect digitally, learn online, conduct conferences, while staying within the safety of our homes. We survive and even thrive. A warm welcome to the competitors from all the 7 provinces. The beauty of India lies in her diversity and oneness in soul to foster the unified diversity. A diverse mix of voices leads to better discussions, decisions, and outcomes for everyone.
True prayer comes from the depths of the heart. It begins as a request to change oneself and culminates in a tranquil, silent, and a content state of being. Before we begin with the day's proceedings, let us invoke God's presence with a prayer song.
you.
auspicious beginning, I now call upon the school head girl, Krishika Thapar, to formally welcome the gathering.
Everyone has a purpose in life, a unique talent to give to others. When we blend this unique talent with service to others, we experience the excellence of our own spirit. On behalf of the management, staff and the students of St. Francis de Sales School, New Delhi, we welcome you all to the second All India Father Peter Mermier Inter-Province Debate Competition 2021. It's a proud privilege for us to welcome the Superior General of the Congregation of MSFS, Reverend Father Abraham Vettuvidan, Provincial of Nagpur Province, Reverend Father John Brito Muthuswamy, General Councillor in charge of Education, Reverend Father Jacob Karmakurul, our Director, Reverend Dr. Domi Thomas, our Principal, Reverend Father Anthony Amaladas, our Administrator, Reverend Father Peter Thomas, our Headmistress, Sister Juan Pinto, and all the Father Councillors from all the provinces across India. I also extend a warm welcome to our distinguished panel of judges, Professor Anuradha Jain, Mr. Mahavir Singh Rawat, and Ms. Sharon Sebastian, who have spared their valuable time for this competition. A warm welcome to all the participants who are keen to put forward their debating skills and teachers in charge from different provinces of our great nation. All the best to all the participants. We hope it becomes an enduring and gratifying experience for one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishika. Today's debate is in the memory of Father Peter Mary Mermier, the founder of MSFS congregation. We present a short video on his life.
Father Peter Mary Mermier was born on August 28, 1790 at Savoy, France. His parents, Francis Mermier and Antoinette Bastien, were wealthy farmers and were held in great respect.
On Sundays, a priest in secrecy celebrated Holy Mass in their house. It was during this period that young Peter saw his mother pray so devoutly, which made a deep impression on him. Mrs. Mermier was not an ordinary woman. On her own initiative, she opened a school and taught Peter, Louis, and even the neighboring children reading, writing arithmetic, and above all, catechism. Young Peter would top his class and already manifested the desire of becoming a priest, and his mother encouraged him in this pursuit.
In 1801, Miss Mermier took Peter to the Presbyterial College of Villy de Bouvray, where he continued his studies. After his secondary school, Peter completed his seminary studies and was ordained a priest on 21st March 1813. Monsignor de Thioles, Bishop of Annecy, appointed him spiritual director at the major seminary in 1823. But in 1826, the bishop permitted him to dedicate himself entirely to the mission.
Father Mermier was appointed the parish priest of Châtelat, a large and important parish, when he was just 30 years old. Here, his main aim was an all-round reform, both among the clergy and the faithful.
Father Mermier had now two activities in mind, that of a missionary and of a founder. And on 8th August 1837, Bishop Ray solemnly blessed the new house of the future missionaries of St. Francis de Sales. On the 24th of October 1838, Bishop Ray officially established the Congregation of the Missionaries of St. Francis de Sales.
Father Mermier founded the Congregation of the Missionaries of St. Francis de Sales for parish mission, foreign mission, and education of the youth. His missionary zeal impelled him to ask the Holy Father for a mission abroad and accept a vast mission territory in India, In May 1845, Cardinal Franzoni, the prefect of the propaganda, confided in the young congregation of NSC the mission territory of Visakhapatnam in India. Father Mermier kept a regular contact with these missionaries. News of their difficulties and successes was periodically communicated to him through letters which took about 40 days to reach their destination. His achievements are unparalleled. While he was given charge of a small area of France, he spread out his arms of compassion to the farthest shores in India. His accomplishments are of the highest caliber, as he emerged out to be a true and devoted follower of the gentleman saint, Saint Francis de Sales. His missionaries of Saint Francis de Sales have not only succeeded in bringing education to India, but also succeeded in embedding themselves and imbibing the local culture, thus enriching both Eastern and Western cultures. A symbol of humility, working for humanity. This is the story of Father Peter Mary Mermier, the journey of a visionary.
I now request the Superior General of the Congregation of MSFS, Reverend Father Abraham, to share his thoughts with us.
Dear students and friends, greetings from the MSFS Generalate in Rome. St. Francis de Sales Senior Secondary School, Janakpuri, is organizing the second All India Father Peter Mermier Inter-Province Debate Competition. I'm glad to know that the SFS New Delhi is organizing an intellectual platform for the young minds to express their values and convictions. You have chosen the theme Digital Learning, Empowering Classes, Alienating Masses. A beautiful theme. During these pandemic times, we often hear the word or the term, the new normal. Education in the new normal is digital learning. It has its positive and negative sides. I'm sure this debate will highlight the positives and the negatives and will help us to make a balanced judgment. Today, the 30th of September, is Father Mermier's Day. From the very beginning of his priestly ministry, Father Mermier was an educator and a teacher. And he was convinced that it was essential to instruct the educators and teachers. He insisted that teachers should love the students and respect the youth. And he said, love your students with the tenderness of a mother and the prudence of a father. All the SFS schools are inspired and motivated by this inspiration of our founder, servant of God, Father Peter Mermier. And today, as you begin the debate competition, I wish you all the best. May this debate enlighten us, educate us, and make us think and make the right judgment. God bless you.
Thank you, Father. I request the Provincial of Nagpur Province, Reverend Father Muthuswamy, to share his words of wisdom with us.
Greetings of good wishes from MSFS Provincialate, Nagpur. Reverend Father Abraham Vettuvelil, the Superior General of the Missionaries of St. Francis de Sales. Father Jacob, the General Counselor for Education. Reverend Father Anthony Amaldas, the Principal of SFS in New Delhi. All the Reverend Fathers, Sisters, students, and my dear participants. I am truly delighted to see you all on the virtual platform for the All India Inter-Province Father Peter Mermier Debate Competition 2021. I wholeheartedly congratulate SFS Delhi for hosting such a prestigious competition to celebrate the life and values cherished and practiced by Father Peter Mermier. Father Peter Mermier was a priest of unbounded zeal. He always retained his lively and curious mind even during his last days. He is endeared to the hearts of all purely because of his values, which have withstood the test of time. Today we are dominated by the materialistic world, but a real tribute to Father Peter Mermier, let us emulate in us a new sense of purpose by imbibing his qualities in us. The year 2020 has taught us many lessons, disturbed our many programs and plans, has eventually made us to reimagine education. This scenario has unfolded new ideas and ideologies to ultimately broaden our horizon with a sense of empowerment. Our lesson from the year 2020 will be critical for building future of education and schooling. It is said that good ideas and true innovation, we need human interaction and debate. It is healthy that no one has monopoly of being right. It gives us creative space to express our opinion, at the same time learn to respect the opinion of others. Watching each one of you to give best out of life makes me so proud, and I know that you're going to give your best. Keep moving forward with determination. God bless you in everything you do. May God bless all Frontalians. Long live SFS New Delhi. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Father. I request the General Counselor in charge of Education, Reverend Father Jacob, to share a few words with us.
I am happy to learn that St. Francis de Sales School, A4C Janakpuri, New Delhi, is organizing an interstate debate competition among the SFS group of schools on our Founders' Day. It's an important day on which we remember our founder, Father Peter Mary Mermier, with great reverence and with great devotion. It is because of him we have the Francilian Fathers and we have the SFS group of schools. Father Peter Mermier was an educator like any other Francilian father. He had direct contact with his colleague teachers, students and parents. Father Peter Mermier used to say one thing to his friend priest, that any work of education of the young people is a work of love. We have certain historical account of his teaching days. He was a very effective teacher as well as a good disciplinarian. He was loved as well as feared by his students. Those days, there were students staying in the school boardings. For the little ones, Father Mermier was like a mother. He used to make their beds at night and comb their hair, and they simply loved him and worshipped him. According to one eyewitness, children used to press around him, climb on his shoulders, and pull his dress. He was very cordial and loving towards all his students. While he was a professor at Milan, a rumor was spread that he is on transfer and he would soon leave the school. His little friends were worried and disturbed. 20 of them were found gathered at the door of his room, weeping, sobbing, and begging him not to leave them. Father Peter Mermier taught us how to be very cordial in relationship. He was not much concerned about power and status, but be real and authentic. He taught us what matters more for life is not intelligent quotient, but emotional quotient, which is qualities of the heart like compassion and empathy. He wanted his fellow priests to be servant leaders, the same model that was shown by Jesus Christ. I wish each one of you happy Founders' Day. May you all imbibe a spirit of compassion and empathy. That is my wish and prayer for you on this occasion. I congratulate the participants of the debate competition. Best of luck to you, and God bless each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Father. I now request our principal, Reverend Father Anthony, to enlighten us on the significance of this day.
Very Reverend Father Abraham Vettuvelil, the Superior General of the MSFS congregation, respected Father John Brito Muthusamy, the Provincial Superior of the Nagpur Province, respected Father Jacob Karamakulil, the General Counselor in charge of Education, respected Father Domi Thomas, the Director of SFS Delhi, my dear Father Peter Thomas, the Office Administrator, respected fathers, sisters, my dear teachers, my dear parents, and my dear students. Wish you all a very, very pleasant morning. Today I am really very happy that we are conducting the second Father Peter Mermier Inter-Province National Debate Competition. We thank God at this time of pandemic for giving us an opportunity through the virtual platform to bring all the people together to share the knowledge of our students and the wisdom that they have gained in their life. There was a man who was traveling in a train and he was reading a Holy Bible. Next to him sat another man. He was very much annoyed by this man who was reading Holy Book. He just asked him, "Do you still believe in God? We have developed so much in science and technology. And I really wonder, you are still a believer in God." And the man who was reading the Holy Book explained to him, "My dear friend, if there are creatures, there must be a person who has created all this." But still the scientist was reluctant to believe. However, when the destination was arriving, he took out the visiting card and gave it to him and said, whenever you get an opportunity, you can come and meet me because I am a scientist, I can help you. And the scientist wanted to know who was the man who was reading the holy book. Then he asked him, can I know who you are? And the man who was reading the holy books stopped and shook hands with the scientist, saying, I am Thomas Alva Edison. And he gave his visiting card and asked him to come and meet. The scientist was really wondering. And later, the scientist took a day and went to Thomas Alva Edison's house to meet him. As he entered, he found on Edison's table an artificial solar system kept. And he asked Edison, who created this? Who made this solar system? Thomas Alva Edison replied him saying, I really do not know. When I got up this morning, I could find this solar system on my table. The scientist was annoyed and he said, please let me know who made this beautiful solar system. At that time, Edison told him, if you would not believe that this artificial solar system is present on its own on my table, how can you believe that the whole solar system has come into existence on its own? There, the scientists realized there must be a creator. My dear friends, why I am saying to you this incident is that Father Peter Mary Mermier lived at the time of French Revolution. He was a strong and staunch believer in the presence of God. It is said the churches were demolished, schools were closed, and the clergies were chased away from their places. But still, Father Peter Mary Mermier's mother was courageous enough to call the clergies and the priests to conduct the holy activities in her house, hiding from others. And this was the time Father Peter Mermier learned what is the meaning of God in his life. Therefore, with the same atmosphere, he continued his life. When he was appointed as a hostel in charge to take care of small kids, he always concentrated on insisting values in their lives. Why? Because he wanted to make them to go closer to God. Simplicity, humility, and perseverance. Today, we are having this debate competition. We should understand debate is not only just a conflict or quarreling with each other, but it is an opportunity for the students to learn how to solve problems, how to come to a just conclusion for a better future, better community, better society. How we should be creative and innovative in our presentation, and at the same time to learn the skills of language to excel in our life. I wish each and every one of you all the very best, and very especially the student participants who are eagerly waiting to participate in this debate competition. I take this opportunity to appreciate and express my gratitude towards the teacher in charge, Ms. Payal Thakkar, the coordinators, Ms. Monica, Ms. Anne, and Ms. Gina, and all the teachers in charge of 7 provinces of MSFS in India, and very especially the technical in charges who have been toiling for long time to make this day a memorable one for each and every one of us with their creativity and innovations. Mr. Lijo, Mr. Vinod and Mr. Ashish. And I also extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the students who helped us for this event. I wish each and every one of you a very, very happy Founders Day and happy journey with Father Peter Mermier debate competition. Thanks to one and all. God bless us all.
Thank you, Father. Today, we are all virtually connected to pay tribute to Father Peter Mermier. Today's debate is in his memory and the topic is Digital Learning, Empowering the Classes, Alienating the Masses. To judge the debate competition, we are honored to have with us a panel of esteemed judges who would use their prowess and discerning power to judge the most deserving speakers from across our nation. Our first judge for the day is Miss Anuradha Jain. Professor Anuradha Jain, the director of Vivekananda Institute of Professional Studies, is a staunch academician with the perfect blend of interest in curricular and co-curricular activities. A scholar from the University of Mumbai, she has been dedicated to the teaching community for over 21 years. A fanatical economist with her areas of interest in international trade and international business. In addition, Ma'am has been rendering her responsibility in the capacity of Dean, Statutory Compliance and Inspection at Vivekananda Institute of Professional Studies. With over 7 years of her exposure as NAAC assessor, she has fathomed the nitty-gritty of minutest aspects of NAAC and NBA accreditation process. Due to her strong intent of disseminating her knowledge with larger audience, she has been invited as a celebrated expert in the field of accreditation. Ma'am has numerous research papers to her credit in diverse areas and has been chairing expert sessions in various national and international conferences. She has been invited as a conference chairperson and keynote speaker at Oxford, London. She is on the panel as an expert in economics for selection board of various state public service commissions. She also holds significant membership positions as Advisory Board Center for Education Growth and Research, Indian Commerce Association. She also has the honor of being the chairperson of Social Welfare Cell, Center for Education Growth and Research. She has been instrumental in uplifting the rights of women as General Secretary, Women Division, International Jurist Council. She has been awarded the Shiksha Gaurav Puraskar 2016 and the Innovative Leader Award 2017. Ma'am, we are honored with your presence and your wide range of professional experience at our disposal today. We welcome you, ma'am.
Our second judge for the day is Mr. Mahavir Singh Rawat. Mr. Mahavir is a freelance journalist with NDTV and contributes to Doordarshan and other international media networks like BBC and CNN. Alongside that, he is also the creator of the YouTube sports channel Sports Studio. He was also the media advisor of the Paralympic Committee of India, which has just come from Tokyo after winning 19 medals, including 5 gold medals. As we know, tapping into genius is simple in theory, yet hard in practice. It comes from mastering the one activity you love the most. Seems like Mr. Mahavir Sir excelled at it. He won the National Television Awards in the year 2015 and 2017. Sir won the Exchange for Media Awards for the Best Sports Anchor. He also won the India Media Welfare Award 2018. He was also the recipient of the Lokmanya Tilak Award. We are honored to have you with us today on this very auspicious occasion. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable presence.
Our next judge is Miss Sharon Sebastian. Miss Sharon Sebastian is a freelance media practitioner who has worked in multiple media platforms like television, documentaries, and content writing. Currently, she works as a producer and anchor for Flowers TV USA, the US counterpart of the Malayalam channel Flowers TV. She also does independent video production on social themes close to her heart, especially gender equality, culture, and communities. She has recently started her own production firm, Red Umbrella Creatives, through which she hopes to work on various media platforms, including video production, voiceovers, and documentaries. At present, she is working on a documentary on Indian immigrants in Michigan, amongst other freelance projects. She acquired her postgraduate degree in mass communication from one of the top media institutes of the country, Mass Communication Research Center, Jamia Millia Islamia University in Delhi. She started her career as an associate producer for non-fiction at Star Plus Mumbai. She moved back to academics, briefly teaching postgraduate students at the media department in Garden City College, Bangalore, along with working on documentaries and corporate video scripts. She credits her career path in media and her various achievements as a top performer in both undergraduate and postgraduate universities to her alma mater, SFS Delhi. A rank holder from Jamia Millia Islamia University, she has held various leadership positions in Delhi University also. Ma'am, we are honored to have your expertise and wide range of professional experience with us today. We welcome you, ma'am.
Before we begin the debate, let me acquaint you with the rules and regulations for the All India Father Peter Mermier Inter-Province Debate 2021. The debate is open to students of classes 9 to 12 from schools across the MSFS provinces. Each participating province is represented by 2 speakers, one for the motion, one against the motion, and one interjector. The topic of debate for today's competition is Digital Learning, Empowering the Classes, Alienating the Masses. The judges will view the speeches of our enthusiastic finalists from the 7 provinces all over India, namely Dibrugarh, Guwahati, Nagpur, Pune, Southeast, Southwest, and Visakhapatnam provinces. These finalists have been selected from among 23 schools. Each debater will put forward his or her views for 2.5 to 3 minutes. Only one interjection per speaker will be allowed. The speaker will have to answer the question put up by the interjector. The criteria for assessing speakers is as follows. Content and logical arrangement of arguments, 10 points. Debating skill and confidence, 10 points. Language, expression and diction, 10 points. Argumentation and convincing power based on rebuttal, 10 points, making a total of 40 points for each speaker. Each interjector will be allowed 2 questions. The criteria for assessing interjectors is as follows. Language and expression, 10 points. Relevance, 10 points, making a total of 20 points for each question and 40 points for each interjector. The interjectors are requested to keep their questions short. No cross-questioning is allowed.
And now for the prizes. The prizes for the All India Father Peter Mermier Inter-Province Debate are as follows. certificate and a cash prize of rupees 5,000 to the best speaker, for the motion and against the motion. Certificate and a cash prize of rupees 3,000 to the runner-up, for the motion and against the motion. The interjector securing the first prize will receive a certificate and a cash prize of rupees 2,500. The interjector backing the second prize receives a certificate and a cash prize of rupees 2,000. The host school will participate but not compete for any of the prizes. The decision of the judges will be final and binding. And now, let the battle of opinions begin. All the best to all participants.
I request speaker number 1, Caris Francis, to speak for the motion.
Respected jury members, dignitaries and my dear friends, I, Miss Caris Francis of Standard 10, stand before you to speak in favour of the motion. Digital learning, empowering classes and enlightening masses. Of course, respected jury members, digital learning is certainly empowering classes. My worthy opponents might have a question in mind. How? I will tell you. Digital learning is undeniably an essential part of our social milieu today. It improves one's life and has positive influences. Now, when we speak about empowering classes, we are talking about the privileged sections of the society, the ones who can afford things. It is very simple to understand. The ones able to spend well are able to learn well. I would like to make the house aware about the pros and cons of digital learning. It has revolutionized the world and led to groundbreaking changes in transportation, communication, education, and self-driving cars. Machine languages translation finally have broken the language barrier, while digital teachers and tutors have made things faster and easier. But remember, my dear jury members, there are thorns with roses. Digital learning has helped to keep the learning process continued, but it has failed to bridge the gap. What about the marginalized ones? Are they able to get the benefits? The answer to this question would be an absolute no. According to UNESCO, 1 in 5 children worldwide did not participate in any forms of education. Participation in online education is still constrained by technological infrastructural barriers, commonly called the digital divide. This entire episode reminds me of Karl Marx. It's the story about class struggle, where the haves enjoy and the haves not cry. Has digital learning really empowered India? The so-called digital literates are grabbing all the opportunities to improve themselves, depriving the digital illiterates. My question to the House is, are we dreaming of such a society where few able to manage distance learning receive the best and the rest are left with dark clouds hovering over them? What a pathetic scene! INES, when the world boasts about growing its economy with digital help, the rest are left to crawl and theft. We, the future citizens, surely want to digitally empower the masses, but not just a few. Instead, the entire society. Thank you.
That was wonderful. I request interjector number 1, Ruben Fahmy, to ask a question to speaker number 1.
My honorable debater for the motion, as you have mentioned that there is many ways to impart knowledge through the digital learning. The platforms you have presented is so appealing, but my question for you is that in the remotest villages like Mezifema, where I came from, there has no electricity, no internet access. Then how does it becoming? And is it really empowering the classes? Please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear friend. The question you have asked shows your command over the topic. My opinion on the question asked is as follows. During this pandemic, there has been tremendous loss of life, jobs, and income. The people falling under the category of below poverty line and lower middle class are the ones who have suffered the most. They are striving to make ends meet, to have at least one meal a day for themselves. To have at least one meal a day for themselves. The condition is worsening day by day. The condition is worsening day by day. They can only afford to have their basic needs. Then how can you say that digital learning is empowering classes? It is undeniably increasing the gap between the richer and poorer sections of the society. Availability of electronic devices such as personal laptops, computers, smartphones is not a great deal for the richer sections of the society, but has certainly increased the burden of expenditure for the poorer families, especially for households with more number of siblings. Even if they are able to afford a smartphone, today internet data has gained top position in the list of essentials, even for an ordinary person who are striving to achieve their daily needs. According to the reports by the print, nearly half of the world's population does not have access to internet. Poorest children are at highest risk of never returning to their classrooms. The poorest children are at highest risk of never returning to their classrooms. And adding fuel to the fire is the daily electricity blackouts in many remote areas. According to reports, in India, nearly 17 crore people do not have access to internet, while 19 crore people living in rural areas only have access to 2G data. And again, as Karl Marx said, a gap is being created and history is being repeated. Thank you.
Thank you. That was wonderfully expressed. Opposing the motion, we have speaker number 1, Harijot Singh Sandhu.
Respected jury members, dignitaries, and my dear friends, I, Harijot Singh of Standard 9, stand before you to speak against the motion. Digital learning, empowering classes, alienating masses. I strongly oppose the motion. Digital classes are not at all empowering one particular section of the society. If we have this doubt in the mind, we have certainly not understood the contribution of digital learning in these difficult times. Are you optimistic about online classes? Are you interested in knowing how the digital learning is continuing to empower the human race? If your answer is yes, then certainly you are investing your time in the right place. Optimists have seen the platform provided as an expression of the liberalizing ethos of the internet tools for empowering the citizens, regardless being the rich class or the marginalized ones, enabling economic opportunities, spreading liberal ideas, and providing an alternative communication platform for dissidents. Digital learning has created equal opportunities for all the learners without any discrimination among them. May I have the attention of the jury members to bring on record that the purpose of digital learning is to provide a framework for progressive social change. Whereas my worthy opponents are tirelessly stressing on the point that digital learning is alienating the masses. Digital learning has no room for discrimination of age, gender, physical appearance, disabilities. Instead, the focus of attention is clearly on individuals' ability to respond. Dear worthy opponents, hope you know, even our maids carry the smartphones, and they too know the usage of many things. Due to the digital learning, learners from all the sectors have not faced any loss of learning. They have rather developed a positive feeling of accomplishment of learning new skills. Respected judges, the other day I saw a plumber making the video of the pipe fittings. What will my friends say about this? Alienating the masses or empowering them? Let me conclude, respected judges, there are umpteen of reasons to prove that digital learning is paving more efficiency, time, and knowledge of technology to the world. And even if the people have blindfolded themselves, then there could be no better solution to it. Thank you.
Thank you. That was eloquent and well expressed. I request interjector number 1, Ruben Faumi, to ask a question to speaker number 1.
My honorable speaker against the motion, Mr. Harriet, you have mentioned in your argument that digital learning is not empowering the classes but alienating the masses. Yes, I do agree with your points to some certain extent. But my question for you is that in this given situation of nationwide lockdown, do you have any viable or foolproof alternative system to educate the student? Are you proposing to put the lives of the innocent student by having offline classes? Please let me know.
Thank you, interjector, for such a thought-provoking question. My opinion on this question is, for the students who cannot afford smartphones, tablets, or laptops, the government has taken many steps for them. The government has started a show on Doordarshan, that is Tilimili, an educational show for students in many languages. And those who cannot afford a television, the government has also started a show on All India Radio, that is Gyanvani. All India Radio does not take any internet recharge pack. And I know every citizen in India has this much money to buy a small feature phone. So I believe that there is no loss of learning of any student in this pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you, Harjot. That was well argued.
I request the speaker number 2, Anushka Satyajit Sarangi, to speak for the motion.
Education is the manifestation of the perfection already existing in man. I, Anushka Sarangi of Standard 10th, would like to speak for the motion, digital learning, empowering the classes and alienating the masses. As we are all aware that we are going through a global pandemic of a magnitude the earth hasn't witnessed since ages. Each of these pandemics have pushed humanity to an extent that we have been forced to change our lifestyles. Students unable to go to school are using the internet and learning to communicate and assimilate information in the digital world. I would like to put forward the most important asset of e-learning from my own experience. Just a few days ago, I was watching the movie Hitchki with my parents, which I'm sure many others did too. While watching, I noticed how the education of the students was being affected just due to the fact that they belong to a weaker section of the society. Don't you think that this is unjust? Well, this does happen even when we study online. As everyone knows that weaker sections of the city have poor infrastructure in terms of space, electricity, internet connectivity, etc. Education of students from such places does get affected when education goes online instead of a brick and mortar school. According to a survey, around 75 to 302 million smartphones are sold in India every year. But before we celebrate this piece of information, we need to understand that a significant portion of our population still does not have a single smartphone. And even if a parent has one, there might be 2 or 3 kids who have to attend the classes at the same time. What then? India has the highest number of smartphone and internet users worldwide after China. But this fact is not an indicator that digital access is available to every child belonging to the weaker sections of the society. On contrary, there is an increase in rate of suicide among students in the masses due to unavailability of resources. So, as to nullify the effects of COVID-19 on the education, the Ministry of Education has taken several initiatives, such as allocating Rs 818 crore to promote and help online learning in rural areas. These are laudable initiatives of the government, but a lot has to be done to democratize education that offers equal opportunities to the children, whether they belong to the classes or the masses. We need to make sure that these schemes are implemented in such a way that it touches the life of the children from the weaker and rural sections of our society. Till such a day comes, I'm constrained to say that digital learning is empowering the classes and alienating the masses. Thank you.
That was well spoken. I request interjector number 2, Uddipana Mahanta, to ask a question to speaker number 2.
Honorable Speaker from the Treasury Bench, you just spoke about how digital learning has empowered the classes and yet alienated the masses. So allow me to make you be aware of this wonderful scheme called E-Vidya Yojana launched by the Government of India in 2020. Maybe less than 30% of Indian households, even Indians, have smartphones. But more than 50% of Indians have access to a television. There are single dedicated channels for per class from 1st till 12th grade with this Yojana. Maybe less than 50% of Indians have access to internet, have access to electricity. But more than 50% of Indian households have access to a radio. Not only are regular classes being held on radios with the help of this E-Vidya scheme, but even special curated e-content is being made for those who are visually impaired. So, Honorable Speaker, can you really say that digital learning is empowering the classes and alienating the masses? Because to me, it seems that rather, it is empowering the classes and even more significantly, the masses. Thank you.
Anushka, you're on mute.
Thank you for that. I thank the interjector for their question. My answer to it will be in the following way. As you told that there are organizations and even the government that telecasted many different shows on TVs and radios. But do you know that the rural sections of towns sometimes do not have access to television? Even if they do, they don't have proper electricity. In such situations, what are they supposed to do? Also, education is not just about book learning. It's also about the physical well-being of an individual, and this in no way can be covered in digital education. There are many such reasons why online learning is a bad decision for the masses. Thank you.
Thank you, Anushka. That was well answered.
Opposing the motion is speaker number 2, Deepika Raju Bhoi.
I, Deepika Raju Bhoi, from Standard 10, will be speaking against the motion Digital Learning Empowering the Classes and Alienating the Masses. Last year was the beginning of a new decade, and at the same time, the entire world was set back from their work due to the COVID pandemic. The situation has forced various companies to work online and students and teachers to continue the teaching-learning process digitally. I'll be speaking about a few crucial advantages of digital learning, which proves that digital learning is not alienating the masses. The first advantage is freedom from physical and mental strain. Children and their parents no longer have to travel for long hours to reach school. The time wasted in traveling can now be utilized by the students to practice self-directed study, which will help them to focus on their weak points and benefit them to gain perfection. Parents now do not need to worry about their children's safety as they study in secure surroundings of their homes. All devices such as mobiles, laptops, computers are now available at reasonable prices, bringing them within the reach of common people or the masses. Familiarity with these devices also encourages children to explore the vast World Wide Web to access information and gain knowledge. The government is investing thousands of crores on making internet connectivity available to all, especially to those in the rural, semi-urban and poorer areas of metros. Even during my online classes, I study with students who are from a poor background. Students whose parents work as a watchman, goods delivery person, driver, or other such careers are now enjoying equal education thanks to digital learning. My classmates also share their experience of online classes and how it has given them relief from various expenses of traveling, school uniforms, school bags, and other stuff that they would have spent their money on. Friends, we are now in the digital age, having just witnessed the digital revolution in the past couple of years. From now on, every aspect of our lives will be touched in some shape or form by digital technologies. So, why not embrace digital learning and bring about the better in our country? Yes, there will be and are issues with digital learning, but it is incumbent on us as enlightened civilization to iron out the flaws and correct it. I leave you with the thought that we cannot all succeed when half of us are held back. Thank you.
Thank you. That was well argued. I request interjector number 2, Uddipana Mahanta, to ask a question to speaker number 2.
Honorable Speaker from the opposition bench, you just spoke about how digital learning has actually turned out to be a boon for even the classes and the masses. Well, a student doesn't just go to offline institutions to gain theoretical knowledge. The physical environment found in a school and social interactions are just as vital aspects of education. So, Honorable Speaker, how can online learning possibly replicate this physical social interactional environment required for the growth of an individual through online learning mode through such tiny mobile screens? Thank you.
Thank you, dear interjector, for your question. Yes, I do agree that online classes do not focus on preparing the physical experience for the student. But did you know that we are now going into the digital revolution of the world, and getting into the digital age is just as important as the physical experience in a university or institution. Digital learning is empowering the classes and also alienating the masses. And also, it is giving them the digital experience, which is the most required thing in our future generations. I would like to conclude my answer by saying that online education is not an option. It is a necessity for our future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepika. That was well spoken.
We now have speaker number 3, Krishika Thapar, who is going to speak for the motion and express her views.
A 14-year-old academically genius daughter of a rag picker in a small village in Kerala commits suicide. Reason: lack of access to online learning. An increase in the number of suicide cases among students is a disturbing reality of mental instability in this new normal. A very pleasant morning to one and all. I, Krishika Thapar of class 11, would like to speak for the motion on the topic Digital Learning Empowering the Classes, Alienating the Masses. Information technology and communication were to offer better access to education at affordable cost and provide greater connectivity among students. But unfortunately, issues pertaining to access, affordability and quality, accentuated with the COVID-19 pandemic, excluded many students from weaker socio-economic backgrounds. The major challenge of online learning is disparity in access to stable electricity, power gadgets and reliable high-speed internet connection to attend online classes. Many private education institutions were quick and agile in making this transition from physical to online learning mode. But a majority of government education institutions are still struggling to make this transition. Lack of digitalized content, lack of trained faculty in the use of virtual teaching, poor or no investment in technology are some of the reasons cited for not being able to provide access to online education. The Ministry of Education reports that 30 million students in India still don't have access to online education. While the government endorses India as a flag bearer of digital and multilingual platform, a recent report states that e-learning platforms are unsuccessful at replicating various dialects that were brought together by the physical classroom. The upper classes' purchasing capacity provides an easy access to gadgets, technology and connectivity to get hold of the best available learning aids. As a result, they gain excellence in education, while the lower income groups stay stuck to outdated ideas and stagnant, adversely affecting their future minds and losing a chance of having a great career. Students from different communities and backgrounds who could have created a significant difference in their communities would have been able to make the world a better place to live in, lose their chance to develop innovative solutions. Had technological development been beneficial to all, the gap between the so-called classes and the masses would have diminished. Also, the underprivileged would have been able to learn better ways to empower themselves. I conclude by saying that digital India is still not prepared for digital education.
That was well spoken. I request interjector number 3, Muhammad Hamza Ahmad, to ask a question to speaker number 3.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Hamza Ahmad, interjector number 3. Well said, my friend. But you said that digital learning has alienated the masses, whereas the government is holding various campaigns to provide internet access, technical knowledge in rural areas to ensure that these people are also benefited by digital learning. Then how can you claim that it has alienated the masses? Could you please justify your points?
Could you please repeat your question once?
The government is holding various campaigns to provide internet access, technical knowledge in rural areas to ensure that these people are also benefited by digital learning. Then how can you claim that it has alienated the masses? Could you please justify your points?
Thank you for your question. I, you, we, and 27% of the total number of students that have access to internet in India don't come in masses. We come in the category of the classes who were quick to make a transition from physical to online learning mode. Everything was within our comfort zone. Good internet connectivity and digital devices were within our reach. 30 million students in India still don't have access to online education. Almost 6 million people who were the sole earner of their families lost their job during the pandemic. They sleep empty stomach every night. They don't have enough money to feed themselves. How can we expect them to buy a smartphone to attend online classes? It is heartbreaking that a student is deprived of education just because he or she doesn't have a smartphone. The institution that teaches us that everyone has a right to be treated equally is today forced to run discriminatory classes. Article 21A of the Constitution states that it is a fundamental right of every child to get elementary education, and it is a duty of our government to provide this. When our government can spend 975 crores to rebuild a massive parliament building amidst the pandemic, can spend so much money on election rallies, our government doesn't have enough money when it comes to educating young minds. The government should not forget that lack of education paves way to terrorism, child labor, and early marriages. Subjects like maths, physics cannot be taught using radio as it requires illustrations and demonstrations. Also, body language and eye contact, which are important clues for a teacher, are difficult to perceive via radio. It promotes rote learning. It doesn't meet the needs of all the students. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishika. That was beautifully expressed.
Opposing the motion is speaker number 3, Manya Chawla.
Greetings to the respected judges. Today I, Manya Chawla, am going to speak against the motion on the topic digital learning, empowering classes, alienating masses. Is it like that? Well, I don't think so. Digital learning has brought the world together. Education is no longer confined to boundaries. India is witnessing a digital revolution. The growing demand for quality education and skill-based learning has waved the green flag for online education. Digital learning is breaking countless barriers by ensuring the availability of affordable and accessible learning even in rural areas. The biggest problem faced by students in India is the lack of opportunity and resources. While some just continue their studies due to monetary reasons, others quit because they cannot find the desired courses within their city. Relocating to another city for the purpose of education requires economic stability, which not everyone possesses. In situations like these, digital learning comes to the rescue, as it does not require you to travel anywhere to reach your educational institutions. Is e-learning costly? No, learning is quite affordable and accessible. Students may simply avoid what they pay for books, parking, infrastructure, practical labs and equipments in traditional institutions. Online access to similar learning resources offers the biggest advantage of all time. Accessibility to all, irrespective of the location, race or religion. That is, it is barrier-free and of same quality for all. This results in the availability of learning opportunity for every human being on this planet Earth without any discrimination. This way, all societies, communities and nations can march ahead together for knowledge-driven growth. My speech will be incomplete if I do not mention the efforts made by CBSE. The board has prepared its own podcast platform entitled CBSE Shiksha Vani, through which members can easily access the audio and video files on their cell phones almost instantly as and when uploaded by the board. Several states have already launched the learning from home programs by leveraging the Diksha platform and propagating learning activities while at home by communicating with teachers and parents through popular media. All CBSE textbooks and resource books are available on the official CBSE website in digital mode. These can be accessed by anyone free of cost. And yes, my dear friends, if masses can be active on Twitter and TikTok, then why can't they learn via digital mode? Thus, I believe digital learning has not just empowered the classes, but also the masses. With this, I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you. That was wonderfully expressed. I request interjector number 3, Muhammad Hamza Ahmad, to ask a question to speaker number 3.
Well said, my dear friend. I'm impressed by the way you spoke. But, digital learning requires the students to get online, which is impossible for many families due to internet access. This may worsen educational inequality. So, please share your views on this very crucial matter.
Thank you for your question, but I would like to say the government has ensured that students do get access to internet and online platforms to able to learn through online education. So I really don't think it's a problem, because if they can be active on Twitter and TikTok, then I don't think there's any problem with online education. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now take a short break of 15 minutes. We will soon commence the competition.
Welcome back. Hope you are rejuvenated. We resume the debate. We now have speaker number 4, Sahaya Trinity, to express her views for the motion.
Greetings everyone, I'm Sahai Trinity of class 10. I'm here to give a speech about digital learning and empowering the classes. And I'm also here as a speaker of the motion. So let's get into it. Digital learning was first introduced back in the year 1989 by the University of Phoenix. Later on, online classes, which is also a form of digital learning, became more known and was limited to colleges and universities. During the year 2020, digital learning was introduced more internationally and incorporately to everyone. And yes, it was the time when we were facing the major attacks of the coronavirus pandemic. It is also during this time, digital learning proved how wonderfully beneficial it can be to us and how it can become the new future of education. Digital learning has given us an opportunity to receive education during the time of crisis. In online learning, we can experience new ways of learning without any limits and restrictions. Digital learning is the most convenient way of receiving education. All you need is a computer and an internet connection. And there you go, you can access information anywhere, anytime without any limits and restrictions. With this, distance can no longer be a barrier to education, right? Different people have different ways to learn, and online learning does everything within its power to ensure that all our learning needs and ways are met. In online learning, there are online tools like Google Docs and others, and with these tools, students can edit and share their works with each other. So, can these features of digital learning really empower the classrooms? To know the answer of this question, we must first know the literal meaning of empowered learners. Empowered learners means being motivated to perform the task, and that empowered person feels and finds the task more meaningful and competent. So yes, digital learning does empower the classrooms as it has many motivating features to teachers and students. So digital learning also has many empowering experiences like personalized learning, higher engagement rates, making students smarter. So believe it or not, digital learning is going to be the better future of education. Thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity.
Those were some good arguments. I request interjector number 4, Lisa Sanchay Maji, to interject speaker number 4.
I'm Lisa Maji, interjector number 4. My question for the motion is, so as you have mentioned that we just need devices and internet connection for digital learning. But is it available for everyone? The students in the masses are unable to access digital learning. Only 1/3, that is 466 million people do not have devices in their home. How do they access digital learning? And many families have a per head income of rupees less than 12,000. So, as you said that there are no limits and restrictions for digital learning, but there are many limits and restrictions for it. The poorer sections have poor infrastructure in terms of electricity, space, and internet connection. Kindly justify your statement.
So 99% of Indian population have access to electricity. And in a report that I have learned that 85% of Indians have access to technologies and internet connection, that 45% have access to weak internet. So those who have strong internet can see online classes, but those who have weak internet, they can't. But there are also alternatives for that. They can always use online platforms like Google to justify their questions, to clarify their questions, and they can always use them to learn. And for the remaining 15% that don't have internet connection technology, the government and the Institute of Education should be slightly responsible for this. They should provide equipments that can be helpful for these people, and they should provide equipments, yes. And government should do the minimum help of building internet towers in all rural areas so that they can access information, and they should also provide equipments, as I said before. So I don't really think digital learning has any limits and restrictions. They can always, if the government is willing, they can always use the equipment provided, and there are no limits and restrictions. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Sahara. That was well expressed.
It's the turn of speaker number 4, El Harini, against the motion.
Greetings to all, I'm Yelharini from 11th Standard. Today, I would like to light my views on the topic Digital Learning Alienating the Masses, and I'm strictly against the motion. Digital learning has been implemented all throughout the world for the students to obtain their education amidst the breakout of COVID-19. The pandemic shut down schools around the beginning of March the previous year, and over 1.2 billion students worldwide were not physically attending school. Like anything, online school has its own pros and cons, but the problem is the negatives of electronic learning outweigh the positives. A few limitations of online class that alienate the masses. Inability to focus on screens. For many students, one of the biggest problems of online class is the struggle with focusing on the screen for a long period of time. With these online classes, there is also a greater chance for the students to be easily distracted by social media or any other unwanted sites. Another key challenge of online classes is internet connectivity. While internet penetration has grown in leaps and bounds over the past few years in smaller cities and towns, a consistent internet with a decent speed is a problem. Without a consistent internet connection for the teachers and students, there can be a lack of continuity in learning for a child. This is detrimental to the education process. Many students were not well equipped with a high internet connection required for the online classes. So, students start losing hope once they find difficulty in online classes. Lack of motivation is a problem for all the children. The e-learning methods currently practiced in education tend to make the participating students undergo contemplation, remoteness and a lack of interaction, states Linda Tam of e-Students Organization. The lack of human communication experienced during the online classes can cause increase in stress, anxiety and depression for the students. Students can learn a lot in being in the company of their peers. However, during the online classes, there is a minimal physical interaction between a student and a teacher. This often results in a sense of isolation for the students. Online classes requires teachers to have a basic understanding of using digital forms of learning. However, this is not the case always. Very often, teachers have a very basic understanding of using technology. Sometimes, they don't even have the necessary resources and tools to conduct the online classes. Many parents are concerned about the health hazards of having their children spend so many hours staring at the screen. This increase in the screen time is one of the biggest concerns of online classes. Students also develop bad postures and other physical problems due to staying hunched in front of a screen. So, in the conclusion, I would tell that the difficulties in learning online is that the students can feel isolated and the learning process can be incredibly an alienating experience. Thank you.
Thank you. That was thoughtful indeed. I request interjector number 4, Lisa Sanchar Maji, to interject speaker number 4.
So as you have mentioned that there is a sense of isolation due to digital learning. But due to COVID pandemic, there is complete lockdown and we are with our families. So how there can be a sense of isolation? We have interacted with the families in these times a lot, and also we use the digital devices for entertainment purposes. And yes, a lot of issues are attached with digital learning, but we cannot ignore the perks of it in times of such crisis. Digital learning is no more an option but a necessity. Kindly justify your statement.
Thank you, Ms. Interjector, for your question. Well, my answer for your question is many parents will not be at home anytime. No, there are so many families like nuclear family and joint family, and in the nuclear family only 3 or 4 members will be at home. Okay, so the students will be at home and the parents will be going for work. Not all the parents will be staying at home to guard their children. So children will feel isolated always. No, they don't have the support of their parents, friends, teachers, and neighbors. No, they will be feeling isolated always. And in the physical classes, then there will be an emotional bond between a teacher and a student. If a student does a mistake, always teacher will be strict and guide them in the right path. So this is missing in the online classes, and students feel very, very isolated in the online classes. Thank you.
Thank you. That was well answered.
Supporting the motion is speaker number 5, Shibin Prince.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, sir, and my fellow distinguished debaters. I, Shibin KP of Class 12, would like to speak for the motion, Digital Learning Empowering the Classes, Alienating the Masses. First and foremost, let us prepare ourselves and others with knowledge of what digital learning is. Digital learning is the type of learning that makes use of new digital technology and resources to allow students to learn in a variety of ways, including face-to-face learning, distance learning, flipped classrooms, blended learning, etc. My dear fellow debaters, let us be very clear on the subject of debate. Here, I would like to emphasize that we are not debating whether digital learning is good or bad, but we are debating whether digital learning is really empowering the classes while alienating the masses. To prove that, let us revisit the history of education. We can see that there have been many different types of educational systems around the world. To begin with, there were both formal and informal educational systems in use during the ancient period, and there is a gradual change according to the time. Today, unlike the traditional education, modern education emphasizes the science and technological skills that are needed today. The digital learning is the need of the hour, and the pandemic has forced us to go digital in an accelerated way. Digital learning has empowered our classrooms inclusively. My honorable opponents pointed out that digital learning is not empowering the classes, and I would like to present some data to prove the otherwise. Look at Swayamprabha DTH platform, Diksha, Department of School Education of the respective states, etc., which provides education for empowerment of the students during this pandemic. Even in remote areas, radio broadcasting is being used for online education for students who cannot access internet. For example, there are 289 community radio stations which are doing this in the remotest villages in our country. Kerala government, for example, giving access to online classes for 2.42 lakh students through Victor's channel, which has become very popular among the students these days. Having said that, I would like to say the most of the above mentioned advantages and digital learning resources are available only for the rich classes who can afford costly electronic gadgets and who has access to internet and electricity. And it creates a great division between the classes and the masses. Therefore, I would like to conclude my arguments by affirming the proposal of the debate that digital learning is empowering the classes and alienating the masses. Thank you.
That was wonderful. I request interjector number 5, KV Sharan Ashwant, to interject speaker number 5.
A very good morning to honorable judges, teachers, speakers, and everyone present here. I, Sharun Ashwant, interjector number 5, like to put forward my question for the speaker. As you mentioned that you are trying to say the online classes is empowering the traditional classes. But you know, the traditional classes enhances the peer learning. The traditional classes allows the teachers to evaluate the students' weakness and also strength. It allows the traditional learning with a better emotional.
Request the interjector to kindly repeat the question.
But I think the quality of the online graduates are not like the similar as the traditional graduates. But you are saying that it empowers the traditional graduates. Can you kindly put forward your questions?
Thank you for your thoughtful argument. So let me begin with the present situation, which is going on. In this present situation, if we come together, if we have any social contact, what is the result, and what will happen if we come closer? I mean, during this COVID-19 situation. So we have only a source that is digital learning. Of course, you have said that the intercourse with teachers, yes, of course, it must be there. But in this present situation, it is not at all possible to come closer, contracted with teachers. So in this, we need to overcome all these crises. We can't wait for the faith to resume our online classes. Otherwise, our youngsters' future will be in more trouble then. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Shubin. That was wonderfully expressed.
Speaking against the motion now, we have speaker number 5, Marishi Deori.
In the words of Philip Regier, and I quote, "There are challenges, but these challenges are only temporary. Online education will flourish." Good morning, everyone. Today, I, Ms. Marishi Deori of Class 10, take this opportunity to present my views against the topic Digital Learning, Empowering the Classes, Alienating the Masses. Now, online education is rapidly becoming one of the most cost-effective ways to educate the world's rapidly expanding workforce. The coronavirus pandemic has resulted in the closure of schools and colleges across the globe. Education has dramatically changed during the lockdown period with a considerable rise of e-learning, whereby learning is executed remotely and on digital platforms. Online education has made learning simple and easy, as the students now have the freedom to learn anytime and anywhere at their own pace. Some students may even get intimidated by more extroverted participants while attending workshops. Some students may even take more notes in an online setting than in person, thus better retaining the information. But, however, it is also true that online education requires a student to have passion and motivation towards education. In the situation like today, when the world is facing a pandemic like COVID-19, the students are confined to their home. In such a situation, online learning is playing a vital role. Many private agencies are providing their technical support. Byju's, Brainly.in, YouTube, and many other social networking sites are providing the support material. The students can now get the recorded material and they can have access to it as and when they want. They will not be deprived of the topics taught in school when they're sick or on leave. They will now have parental control at home. They will become self-reliant, confident, and self-disciplined. Online education spares us the inconvenience of having to travel to a particular destination every single day. When we're studying in a college or university, we may even have to spend money on transportation, lodging, meals, etc. However, online education doesn't require such expenses. So far as the mediocres and slow learners are concerned, they will now get the private attention of the parents and teachers. They will not have the boundaries of the school timetable. Now they can move at their own pace. In conclusion, online education has brought a positive aspect both in the lives of students as well as working professionals. In this era of digitalization, the scope of online education is increasing every single day and will benefit the students, the working professionals, and many other institutions. Thank you, and that's it.
Thank you. I request interjector number 5, KV Sharan Ashwant, to interject speaker number 5.
Digital learning is particularly beneficial to students who live in geographically isolated areas where there are limited school choices. It allows all the students to have equal access to quality education no matter where they live. And also, multimedia content and learning material with regular short tests can improve engagement. You know that of America, online classes have increased the students' retention rate from 25% to 60%. With all of this research, how are the students still alienated? Kindly share your thoughts.
Thank you so much for questioning, but I didn't get the question. Can you please repeat it?
Interjector, you're requested to repeat the question.
Yeah, sure. See, digital learning is particularly beneficial for the students who live in geographically isolated area because if there is a students who cannot go to school daily, they can all access the internet to get high quality education where they live. It also gives the multimedia content and learning material online. We can also have the student engagement by conducting regular short tests. The Research Institute of America also have said that the student retention rate can be increased from 25% to 60%. Now, can you say how are the students still alienated?
Well, alienation means just having differences and having to, the alienation, you are not just alienated with the, in this context, the mediocres are getting more time in management. They can learn at their own pace now. They can even learn anytime and anywhere. Students are still alienated because they don't get physical contact with anyone now. But the physical contact they can even get from their parents in their homes. And I don't think anything else is required because physical contact from their parents and siblings is enough. They just don't need to go to their friends. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Marishi. That was well argued.
Well, it's getting quite interesting now. So I invite speaker number 6, Rohan Prasad Sharma, to speak for the motion.
Good morning, everyone. It's me, Rohan, and I'll be speaking for the motion. 19-year-old Aishwarya Reddy, a mathematics student at Lady Sriram College, committed suicide on 3rd November 2020, leaving a suicide note behind in Telugu that translated, "I can't live because I can't study." On 3rd August 2020, a second-year BSc nursing student, Nitashi, committed suicide after she was forced to share a single smartphone with 3 of her sisters, and she could not cope up with online education. 2 girls died, and their only fault was that they were not lucky enough to be a part of the classes, and they were part of the masses. Now the question is, do we want more girls to die in the future? Do we want more Nitashis and Aishwarya Reddys to die? I don't want it to happen, and that is exactly why I'm supporting the motion today. A report by Mermier now says that only 24% households in India possess a smartphone. In a country like India, digital education is a concept which is far out of the reach of most people. There are major resource-related issues which make it even harder for this concept to succeed. The first issue is electricity. Electricity is not just an issue for the classes, but also for the masses. Electricity in major cities like Delhi and Bangalore, during the summers, there are power cut issues. Leaving aside the power cut issues, a huge population of masses have not even been introduced to the concept of electricity. And here we are, talking about digital education. Honorable Speaker, sir, the second issue is internet. Internet is available to only 14.9% rural households and 42% urban households. We must also keep in mind that the connection in rural households is so slow that digital learning is next to impossible. Leaving aside the resource-related issues, digital learning is also an improper environment for dependent learners. Just think about it. For digital learning to be successful, students need to be highly motivated and need to possess a high degree of time management skill. But we all are aware that teenagers are highly prone to losing their grip in studies. Another thing that I would like to mention is that the implementation of digital learning came up very quickly. Our teachers and facilitators were never actually prepared for it. Therefore, they were never professionally trained to teach us in an online platform via online tools. Therefore, at the end, I would like to say that digital learning is a concept that is far out for a country like India, where people above the BPL line stand in queues to get a BPL card, where more than 134 million people earn less than 2 rupees a day, and where 1/3 of the population sleeps with an empty stomach. So with this, I would like to rest my case, but not my cause. Thank you.
That was well argued. I request interjector number 6, Pulkit Kumar, to ask a question to speaker number 6.
Good morning to everyone watching. I am interjector number 6, Pulkit Kumar. And here's my question for Rohan. By discarding digital learning, do you want these millions of children to get rid of the one platform that has helped them learn at least the bare minimum? If yes, what other platforms do you suggest? Platforms with personal interaction and free resources like in digital learning. Also, before you mention television as an alternative, let me remind you that television is also a digital platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. But I think that the only alternative to digital education, before thinking about the alternative, we must go through why digital education is something which can't even be called as an alternative. Digital education is something which is not permanent. And here we are debating about something which says that digital learning is empowering the classes and alienating the masses, all right? So since digital education is available to only 24% of people who have access to mobile phones, and it is not accessible to all the other people, even for those whom the online education is accessible, there are major issues which come along with that, such as there is no socialization. There is no availability of physical activities such as sports and PHE classes. And then this was a very sudden move. Digital education can never be a proper alternative to physical classes. As of now, we must think about other solutions other than digital learning, because digital learning, first of all, it demolishes a basic principle, which is right to education and right to equality that is mentioned in our constitution. Because as you know that only a few percentage of people in India have access to it, and the other people, they don't have an access to it. So digital education does not make any sense right now. We need to think of other alternatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohan. That was wonderfully expressed.
Speaking against the motion, we have speaker number 6, Nikita Das.
We can't teach somebody everything they need to know, but the best we can do is to place them where they can find what they need to know when they want to know it. Good morning, everyone. This is Nikita Das from 11 Humanities, and today I'm speaking against emotion. Today, we are questioning if digital learning is empowering the classes and alienating the masses. And I say no, absolutely no. Let me tell you why. When we talk about digital learning, we basically focus upon internet and gadgets. But Honorable Speaker, sir, we forget the fact that digital learning also includes radios and television sets. Almost 66% of Indian households have access to television sets, and the broadcast radio reaches almost 99% of Indian households everywhere. Therefore, we must remember the fact that learning can happen anywhere and under any circumstance. What is necessary is the enthusiasm to learn. Digital learning is flexible. Somebody may like to study in the morning and somebody may like to study in the evening. It's up to them what to study, when to study, and from whom to study. And digital education allows us to have this choice. Honorable Speaker, sir, due to this flexibility, almost 15 million people started to work as freelancers after the COVID-19 situation in India, out of which 66% were students. The government is not a fool to invest 40,000 crore rupees on improving the online education system of India by providing internet connection to every household. Definitely, the government is trying to make digital learning permanent, which just makes this debate pointless. Digital learning prepares us for the future. We never knew this current situation of COVID-19 was in our way. Similarly, we don't know if anything else similar to this is in our way. Imagine this situation 20 years back. The consequences would have been worst. 2 crucial years of every student would have been gone into wastage. Honorable Speaker, sir, we know the future of the planet is AI, and digital learning helps us to learn concepts like cyberbullying management and cybercrime management. These are all practical skills extremely important for the future. Therefore, digital learning is what we need now. It's now or never. Remember, conflict is inevitable, but combat is optional. Honorable Speaker, sir, after putting forward so many arguments, I hope that my friends from the Treasury bench will ponder upon their thought that digital learning is not alienating the masses, but rather helping them to glorify in this digital era. Thank you.
Those were well-balanced views indeed. I now request interjector number 6, Pulkit Kumar, to ask a question to speaker number 6.
You mentioned the government spending 40,000 crores on providing internet to every single Indian household. But according to Statista, the internet penetration rate between 2020 and 2021 has decreased and not increased. I repeat, it has decreased by 10% to 45%. What do you have to say about this? Do you really think that every child in India can access internet right now?
Mr. Interjector, thank you for your question. I already mentioned in my speech that when we talk about digital learning, we basically focus upon gadgets and internet. Why we forget about the fact that digital learning also includes radios. Almost 99% of Indian households have access to broadcasting radio every day. And we also have televisions. Almost 66% of Indian households have access to a TV set. Therefore, education and learning is possible anywhere and under any circumstance. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikita. That was well answered.
Supporting the motion, we have speaker number 7, S. Krisha Kushe.
Hello everyone, this is Krisha Kushi from class 9C speaking for the motion. Ever since COVID-19, the education industry is undergoing a transformation. Overnight digital education has become the new elixir of learning. But my question is it benefiting everyone equally? No. I strongly believe that digital education is only empowering the classes while alienating the masses. Equality of opportunity to all is one of the basic principles of our constitution. As Robert Wyatt said, the idea of building up of power of people who are already powerful and keeping everyone else back is a recipe of endless disaster and misery. And this is what digital education has done to the masses. The rapid shift to e-learning prompted by the pandemic has resurfaced long-standing issues of inequality and digital divide. A gap in the access to the internet between the rich and the poor families is leading to dramatic disparities in the educational success. Many say something is better than nothing. Let me ask them, better for who? For those who can afford. And what about those who cannot? Probably the masses are not part of your country. COVID-19 has affected the poor even harder than their counterparts from the well-to-do society. When survival itself is an issue, smartphones or laptops is in the last of their list. In such a situation, the emphasis on technology-driven education is preventing many children from continuing their education. While the ministry is still devising ways to revolutionize the online learning, a vast population of students still have no smartphones, let alone an active internet connection. In a recent 2017-18 survey by the Ministry of Rural Development, it is found that only 47% of the total Indian household receive more than 12 hours of electricity. This suggests that while children from families with a better means of living can easily bridge the transition to remote learning, while those from an underprivileged background are likely to succumb to inefficiency and a lack of adaptation. The central and many state governments have launched classes through television as well. But is it an inclusive solution? Only 66% of the total Indian housing own a TV set. Clearly then, learning through television isn't an inclusive solution either. If digital learning or e-learning is the new normal, then I strongly believe that this policy has not gone further to address the feasibility of digitalization to ensure equity and quality in education. Thank you.
That was well argued. I request interjector number 7, PVM Sudhir, to interject speaker number 7.
A very fine good morning to everyone. Today, I want to raise a question to my fellow friend who is speaking for the motion. My question is that, how could it justify that only the higher classes can receive e-learning while even the poor are able to have internet access provided by the government or at the cheaper rates for the markets, which are helping them to learn the subject and minimizing the social barriers? Thank you.
Thank you, Sudhir, for your question. I would like to answer your question with a survey that I read recently by the World Economic Forum, which says that more than 20 million of the Indians live in expenses below 32 rupees, which is obviously below poverty line. You did mention government providing internet, but for how many people, right? Servants who come to my home ask for spare mobiles that I have. Even if a single person is not getting, then obviously the government is not providing it for everyone, right? And moreover, internet, how can the government provide for all the 20 million people, right? Even a phone, to maintain a phone, you need at least a minimum of 1,000 rupees for its electricity charges, for the internet, for the 4G, right? And 20 million people, how will the government spend 1,000 rupees for each one of them? The only way to stop this thing is to reopen the schools. Learning through schools with a board, a teacher, a chalk and a duster is something that we have been following for more than 100 years now. When our syllabus has been revised, when our schools have been revised, why has that particular method of learning not been revised? Because that is the best. We have learned a quote that says, a teacher can change life with the right mix of chalk and challenges. Has that quote now revolutionized into a teacher can change life with the right mix of devices or the right mix of online platform? No, right? That format of education that we had was the best. Why do we have to go around changing something that is best? We need to protect it. The government, just as you said, rather of spending so much of money into internet, providing smartphones, can provide that money to sanitize the schools, right? It can protect the school, just as the way we have our earth. When humankind stepped onto earth, it was the best, but we wanted to revolutionize it rather than protecting it. And where have we ended up? So, though the ministry is devising so many methods to, revolutionize online learning, provide internet, 24-hour electricity, ask the government to provide it for opening the schools, for keeping the schools clean. Schools can open for the alternate days, right? So I strongly say that this digital education is only empowering the classes while alienating the masses. 2 years back, we never had this topic saying offline classes, empowering the classes and alienating the masses, because offline classes was equal. Everybody had one board, one chalk, one teacher, and the same amount of students sitting around them. It was never like one had a MacBook, other is having something else, no 24 hours internet, 12 hours internet. No, right? So I strongly again say that this policy of digital education is only and only empowering the classes while alienating the masses. Thank you.
Thank you, Prashant. Those were some well-balanced views.
Speaking against the motion is speaker number 7, Aryan Ashish.
Progress is impossible without change. Change makes us grow. A very good morning. I'm Aryan Ashish and I strongly oppose that digital education empowers only the classes while alienating the masses. It is often during the most challenging times where is the greatest opportunity to redefine things. During the lockdown, we witnessed how the education system slowly transitioned from disruption to recovery. It is uncertain if we will ever return to regular teaching. Therefore, digital education is not an option but a necessity. In the pre-COVID days, only the affluent had access to the latest technology and the best available learning aids. Students from low-income families had inadequate access to technology. This was obstructing them from learning the tech skills that are crucial to success in today's economy. However, today, digital education is bridging the divide. Some people might say that digital education cannot reach the villages. Do they forget that over 13,000 villages in India don't even have a school? Online education is easily accessible and can reach even the most rural and remote areas. Great content is available online for free, from which millions of students can learn from. Numerous e-textbooks and tens of thousands of pieces of audio and video content are available for NCERT and CISE in numerous languages such as English, Kannada, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Urdu, etc. Many people, not necessarily students, have enrolled for new courses during the lockdown. The fact that you don't need to travel or be in a classroom has democratized learning and made it available for students from all strata of society. Some state governments have been working with media partners such as Doordarshan and All India Radio to broadcast online classes and educational content through the regional channels. This is not only helping students in rural areas with no internet connection, but also visually impaired students. The Ministry of Human Resources Development (MHRD) has taken initiatives for digital education for all. An initiative called PM eVidya was announced on 13th May 2020. It aims to unify all efforts related to online/on-air/digital education. It will benefit nearly 25 crore school-going children. I would like to conclude by saying, Rome was not built in a day. Bricks were laid down every single day. We are at the beginning of a new era, the digital era. The future generation will experience better learning, and everyone will have better ways to empower themselves. Thank you.
That was well said. Thank you. I now request interjector number 7, PVM Sudhir, to interject speaker number 7.
I partially agree with you, my dear speaker. I have a question for you. That is, during this pandemic, a poor parent's wages is only enough to feed their stomachs. Then, how could they afford devices to catch up with the social and educational platforms for their children? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. I will answer it. India has the largest growing number of internet users every single year. And we must not forget that digital education does not only mean online classes, it also includes radio and televisions. The government has partnered up with numerous media partners such as All India Radio and Doordarshan to broadcast classes, and over 99% of households have access to a radio, and over 66% of students have access to a television. And I would also like to remind you that the topic is that online education alienates the masses while empowering only the classes. We never said that offline classes will be replaced by online classes. We need to remember that these two will go side by side. Where offline classes cannot meet the demand, such as I mentioned in my script, over 13,000 villages in India don't even have a school. These are the places where online class comes into play. When the children are farming or busy during the day, they can study on their own time using online classes. They can use numerous browsers such as Internet and Google Chrome to search for answers, notes. There's tens of thousands of pieces of audio and video content in all the languages of India. I hope I have answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Arun. That was well argued.
Moving on with the competition, I now call upon speaker number 8, PV Sai Jyoti, to express her views for the motion.
A very warm good morning to respected jury and all my fellow beings. This is PV Sai Jyoti from 10th grade. I'm here to speak for the motion of the given topic. Digital learning empowering the classes, alienating the masses. Education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. Traditionally, education has centered on sources such as schools, teachers, and print media. Now, due to the advancement of science, technology has revolutionized man's aspect in every aspect of life. In theory, digital learning appears to be extremely beneficial to only the classes who are being able to meet the expenses of the digital learning equipments. Due to COVID-19, it's a sudden dive for the students into digital learning. In this digital era, the students of the classes across the world are not relying on age-old, unidimensional chalk and board methods of learning anymore. Instead, they have started to embrace a new variety of tools in order to facilitate, simplify and contextualize their learning. And there rises a question, what about the masses? Invariably, the students of the lower income group have no finance facilities and thus hinders the educating system of the downtrodden. Online teaching is heavily biased towards those who have access on modern technological devices and high-speed internet. A schoolgirl in Kerala killed herself as her family was financially strained and she was worried and upset about not having access towards mobile or online classes since they started. Schools are dishing out homework assignments which require an equipment related to e-learning, but students are unable to complete them due to lack of resources. Schools adopting software to submit course online put low-income students at a disadvantage. Half of the students of the bottom income bracket reported relying on mobile phones to complete their homework. This throws up the question whether education is effective by learning from the screen rather than the textbooks where there is lack of communicational skill development in online classes. E-learning procrastinates and can cause social isolation. Even though if digital learning is a new way of teaching, not everybody gets the chance to handle the equipment. Due to COVID-19, the poor became much more poorer and 60% of their income is spent for food. They couldn't afford for the digital learning equipments. Considering all these, we can say that digital learning is alienating the masses due to lack of income, affordability and much more. So let us focus on telling stories which builds the creativity as science has vitally proved the scenario and story-based learning is effective for the mental growth of the child. Change is the end result of true learning. So I strongly believe that digital learning is empowering the classes and alienating the masses. Thank you.
Thank you for those wonderful insights. I request interjector number 8, Janet Bhasin, to ask a question to speaker number 8.
Good morning, respected speaker. You just mentioned about the students having different incomes and the lack of sources, but we are well aware of that in our country there are about 29 states having 29 different financial situations and budgets. Being the second most populated country in the world, it is nearly impossible to share the knowledge of digital divide with every single human residing in our own country. Plus, providing anything as successful as digital learning as an alternative for the given contagious deadly pandemic. What are your opinions on it? Thank you.
Thank you for the question, interjector. Now I would like to highlight my views related to the question. Online teaching is generally biased on access, internet and high-speed internet connection. You mentioned that India is the second populated country, but I would like to say that it is even more difficult to provide online teaching and equipments to all the students of the second populated country. So it is even difficult for the government to give the equipment, and even though if they provide the equipment, but 9 out of 100 students are not receiving the equipment. If they provide the cheap equipment, it is difficult for the students to learn the subject in the online classes. So I would like to say that digital learning is empowering only the classes and alienating the masses. Thank you.
Thank you. That was well answered.
Last but not the least, it's the turn of speaker number 8, V. Nainita, who is going to speak against the motion.
Good morning, one and all. I, V. Nainita of class 10, would like to speak against the motion for the given topic, digital learning empowering the classes, alienating the masses. Technological innovations such as social networking system, games for learning are extending learning and interaction opportunities of people in educational context. They have the ability to deepen, enrich and adaptively guide learning and interaction. Digital learning is breaking uncountable barriers by ensuring the availability of accessible and affordable learning even in rural areas. Our country's education sector is going through a revolution. Thanks to the high-speed internet, low-cost mobiles and handheld devices, which makes it easier for the students of both the classes and masses to afford necessary equipments for e-learning. Interactive content delivered by professional instructors makes it easy for the students to skip geographically bound classrooms and enjoy self-paced learning because we haven't completely emerged from this pandemic situation. Affordability and availability of high quality and huge quantity of content are the greatest qualities of digital learning. It has a number of tools such as videos, PDF and podcasts, and teacher can use all of these tools as a part of their lessons. Content is the king for the transfer of knowledge. While a teacher can explain it in one way, online tools explore this same content in a number of ways where even the dull can understand. Network of human connections are important for social mobility. Now this social mobility is expanded from sky to ski and has now made possible via online. Wow, what a global network. A recent UK-India Business Council report titled Meeting India's Educational Challenges Through E-Learning states that India is the second largest e-learning market after the US. So, are the masses being left out? Absolutely not. Government of India has initiated a program to educate and give opportunities to the masses. This plan is mainly focused on economically weaker sections. Digital learning saves more hours, instills a feeling of self-belief and independence which every child needs to achieve a better position in this society. So I strongly say that digital learning is beneficial to each and every student without the variations of classes and masses. Thank you.
That was well said. Thank you. I request interjector number 8, Janet Bhasin, to ask a question to Vinay Neeta.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. You just mentioned the availability of network in your speech. Just let me get this straight. Digital learning might not be costly for a person who may be living in a city or as such, but in a country like India, where people are still figuring out racial, economical, or cultural disputes among these local and remote areas. How can you say that bringing 1,000 rupees or any amount of smart device in these particular households may increase the knowledge and growth of these individuals, including the whole country? Do the word global is confident enough to fit in this situation? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Interjector, for your question. And you have told that it is difficult for the government to spend thousands of rupees to give education and network and low-cost mobiles for the students. But let me say, even if it's difficult for the students to receive network connections and mobiles, it is easy for all the students to learn through television because Doordarshan has E-Vidya Yojana, and all the students, I'm damn sure that all the students have televisions in their homes, and if a student has a will to learn something, he will definitely find his ways to learn. So I say that student can learn from televisions if not possible through mobile phones. So I strongly say that there is no bridging between masses and classes when it comes to digital learning. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate all the speakers for their untiring efforts to present their views. We have now come to the end of this fascinating exchange of ideas. I now request our judges to address the gathering. I request Ms. Anuradha Jain to express her views.
Yeah, very good morning to all of you and all the galaxy of scholars present here, my co-judges and the management of the school, principal, teachers, and the organizers. I'm really thankful to all of you for making me the part of this grand, event. I'm so happy to be the part of it. And you know that I'm feeling little jealous that we did not get opportunity like this as you people are getting at the time when we were in the school. And that is the reason, we are always attached with the school students and the college students. As I'm the part of the college, I'm the director of the college, because this association keep us young and energetic always. And I'm feeling so energetic and so happy to see all of you speaking so well. I could not even imagine that I can speak so well, at your age, and not even at present. That is the fact. Okay, and I accept it in front of all of you. And you people are amazing speakers. All of you have spoke so well. For me, all of you are the best. Okay, but as a judge, that we have to give points so that we will be doing, our task here. But I congratulate all of you, for this courage that you came and you choose this platform to express your views. The topic is very apt, and I think that it's the blessings in disguise, you can say. I know that it has both the sides, like pros and cons of, digital learning. But Corona has given us the opportunity, you can say, to learn these different platforms. I will not say that this can replace the chalk and duster in future or throughout, but still, yes, it has added on one of the feature, or you can say that one of the platform to connect with each other. Otherwise, during this time of pandemic, it becomes very, very difficult. And you can say that it is this platform, digital learning, that we are all together sitting here, okay, connected with each other. Otherwise, we have never thought of this earlier before this pandemic. Okay, it has just, cut short the barrier of the distance. Otherwise, we used to think 100 times whether we can spare time coming to the institution, coming to that place. Okay, and some of us may have refused that we don't have time, so we cannot travel, we cannot commute, and so we cannot come. And you can see that for few discussion, I was at home. After that, you can see my background and I'm in the college. Okay, and throughout my driving also, I was connected with you people. I was listening to you. So that is only because of the beauty of this digital learning. Okay, so I'm not at all against this, but yes, it cannot replace the traditional way of teaching. That is true. Okay, so before I close my speech, since all the students are there, so I would like to just give one message to all the students, that you please have one goal in your life. Okay, always you should have the goal, which is very, very important to give direction of. Otherwise, it becomes directionless. Okay, and you know that, for example, like suppose if you start from your home and you want to go somewhere, the first thing that you decide is the destination. Okay, that where you want to reach. And unless and until you have the destination, you will become directionless and you will not know that from which route to take, where to go. So if you plan for picnic or if you plan for outing, the first thing that you decide is the destination. Okay, so similarly, you should also decide the destination of your life, like where you want to reach. Even at this stage of my life, I have the goal in my life, and that goal motivates me, okay, to work hard again, to learn. So only when that goal is decided, other things then follow that destination. Because like if you want to, set the navigation, that where you want to go, first thing that you have to enter is the destination there. Okay, then navigation shows you different routes to reach the destination. So navigation works only once you decide the destination. Okay, so first thing in your life should always be that you should have one goal in your life, that what you want to be, where you want to see yourself, 10 years down the line or 5 years down the line, or what is the ultimate goal of your life. And once you decide this, then you can start, continuous acquiring the knowledge to achieve that goal. Okay, because without knowledge, okay, without hard work, without perseverance, you will not be able to reach to your destination. Okay, and for me, knowledge is equal to creativity, which is very, very important. I can see in all of you that you are so creative, so confident. Okay, so creativity plus righteousness. Okay, right conduct, righteousness is very, very important, and plus courage. Okay, so I can see that you have the courage, okay, you have the creativity, but you have to keep on nourishing all these qualities, okay, throughout the life. You have to be a good learner always, and good learner can only be a good candidate or the good citizen. Okay, so with this message, I close my speech, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be the part of this youth and for motivating me to become speaker like you people. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That was very insightful, ma'am. Thank you so much for your encouraging words. Despite your extremely hectic schedule, you took out time to be with us today. I now request Mr. Mahavir Rawat to express his views.
First of all the dignitaries and, as ma'am said, the galaxy of stars amongst us. The type of thing that ma'am was saying, that don't be aimless, have a destination, and keep striving towards the goal. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I was one of like these who had absolutely no aim. Whatever aim I tried for in my life, I never succeeded in that, and ultimately, I resulted in doing. But the one thing that I understood in life is that if you don't get what you like, you always have to like what you get. So sports was always my forte in school, and then, but at that time, engineers and doctors were only two professions that we knew. So later on, the opportunities came, and we, with the one thing that if you are a student, you can always adapt and adopt to all the new situations that we have. And also, one thing that I want to apologize to all the participants is the impact of television. I could see right on the way students were arguing. You don't need to, animate. It's a debate. It's not a drama. So I know people speak with passion, but I'm sorry, but I could see a lot of impact of today's television, and I'm so sorry because I belong to that community that we have had such an impact on and like that on the participants. Also, one thing that I found was I think you people Googled the same pages or the research paper or something, which the data was quite same, the examples were quite same, uh, the things were also quite same. Because if you talk about like how it has impacted, like I'm a freelance journalist, I give my duties to all the nationals of India, US, UK, but I'm also a parent. So and my kid is in your school, so I'm facing a lot of problems these days in getting to do all my duties right in all my departments. uh, Also, one more thing is that there will definitely be a one winner out of all the speakers in the different categories, but ultimately the people who may have not who will not win the prize are the one who are going to learn the maximum. This is one thing that I have learned in my life, is that when you win, and I'm telling you, I'm quoting you right after meeting champion players like Sachin Tendulkar, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, you name them, they always taught me one thing, that when you lose, you learn a lot of things. Winning gives you a sense of contentment, and sometimes you just think that, okay, I have already reached a place, and why should I strive hard? But when you don't get something, the hunger to get that thing becomes much more deeper. So all because to be very honest, people gave me a lot of advices in my life. I didn't take it because I just kept on going on a path that I thought that would be good to me. So I wouldn't give any advice to all because you are already in your teens. There's a lot of exposure, and as Madam rightly said, there are no black and white areas in the topic that was today. It was a very relevant topic. I hope that those who spoke for the motion got to learn a lot of things from the people who were against it. because unless there's a हिंदी में कहावत है कि मतभेद होना चाहिए, मनभेद नहीं होना चाहिए. So those who are speaking against the topic are not the enemies of those who are speaking, because I lost a lot of friends in my school days because I used to pick a topic and say against it. So ultimately they used to think that just because he's speaking against the topic, he is not my friend anymore. So we have to accept with open heart all the different views. Right now, I won't say about the atmosphere of the country or in fact the entire world, that you pick up a view, you are so stringent about it that there is no chance or there is no scope of accepting other person's view. At least our culture, our history has always taught us, the more we accept, the more we listen to other persons, and the more we grow. So I just have one advice, that listen more in life, accept more in life. Even if the other person does not agree to you, he has all the right to say what he feels. So just adapt, adopt, and just keep growing, and just be a student all your life. Thank you.
Your words have really touched our heart. Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful words. We're honored to have you amidst us. I now request Miss Sharon Sebastian to speak a few words.
It's 2 in the night for me here in US, but my energy is so high right now. Listening to all of you, bright young minds, and I'm so thrilled to be back at a platform which has given me so much personally. Literally, it has given me my voice like many years back. I was right there, a contestant like you. Father Peter Mermier debates or various other debates that were organized by our school, representing our school. So I completely understand at what you are feeling right now. All I want to say is take a breath, because you are already ahead of the game. The fact that you've come on stage, expressed yourself, and as Mr. Mahavir Rawat rightly said, winning or losing, that's secondary. Trust me, the fact that you've come in front, you're already half the battle. You've won half the battle. On that note, congratulate all of you. Congratulate yourself. Acknowledge the hard work that you've put in to come and express your opinions. What I want to say is similar to what both my co-judges said, and I would take a few points from both, but also add my own as somebody who was in your place a few years back. Very interesting example is that sometimes when we argue, it's driven by a personal biases. So always remember there's an alternate perspective. That's why in debates you have for the motion and against the motion, because every coin has two sides. Now, when I was pursuing my master's in mass communication in Jamia, one of our teachers, she was a prolific documentary filmmaker, she divided the entire class into two teams. She put forth a motion for debate, and she asked, so who all believe for the motion? Raise your hands. And very happily, all of us who believed for the motion, we raised our hands. Similarly, she did for against the motion. In a few minutes, now the entire class has to debate amongst themselves in two teams. And she says, so exactly all of those who were for the motion, you are going to debate against the motion, and vice versa. So imagine the situation that we were in, because we believed in a certain thing, but we had to convince the other person against the motion. But what it does to you is it forces you to think from the alternate perspective, and that is important. And in today's climate, whether it's the political climate of the country, of the world, it's important to acknowledge the alternate perspective. So my advice to you, friends, is while you make a debate, have an informed opinion, because otherwise it is just an opinion. So do your research, base yourself on facts, especially in some of the speeches that I noted. When you make generic opinions, always try to back it by facts or sources, because otherwise it is just our opinion, and our opinions are guarded by personal biases. It is guarded by our personal backgrounds. That might necessarily not be an informed opinion. All right, so always take the effort to understand the alternate perspective. Another thing which is which happens usually in debates is we all come with our, speeches. This is, of course, a virtual, session, and we've all pre-recorded our videos, which is great. The session was conducted so smoothly, and I'm glad that in such circumstances we could have this. And it is digital revolution that I'm able to join you today, and fulfill my dream of coming back to my alma mater. But when we were in person, one thing is always listen to what the opponent is saying and try to take this. This goes for the interjectors also, because some of the interjectors, I noticed you had your questions, but when you put it forth to them, have you listened to the speeches, what the speakers have made? Is your question still relevant to the speaker, or is it a generic question? So always listen. Try to take points from your opponent and then counter it with your informed opinion or your facts. That makes the debate interesting, because otherwise we've all come with our pre-prepared speeches, but what really judges your skill is also how much you're listening on the spot, how much you can counter. That broadens your knowledge base. So that is one thing that my advice as debaters, as interjectors, is listen. Try to do your research on the subject. And as Mr. Rawat said, we noticed a lot of similar points and similar data, which is natural. It happens when you are debating on a similar topic. But if you hear that the person has already made similar comments while answering, think, how can I try to make it different? Is there a way to put forth my arguments differently? Can I, put forth a different perspective to it? So, which is why doing research on your speech beyond and above your speech is important. The knowledge of the topic is important.
Mom, you're on mute.
Hi, Sharon. I guess you are on mute inadvertently.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. So I remember this one time when I was representing our school in an inter-school debate, and the topic was, that was the time when US had invaded Afghanistan in the post 9/11 scenario. The topic of the debate was whether that war was justified or not. Believe me, I was talking against the motion. I was debating against the motion. So whether or not that was our personal opinion or personal judgment, when it comes to a debate, you are forced to think from the alternate perspective. Then you are forced to dig out and research from that perspective. And this is something that I have learned in my career. This is something I have learned as a mass media student, that there is never the truth. It is always a truth. So your truth and my truth will always be different. It'll be guided by personal biases, which is why schools are such a safe space to, explore your truths. You have your teachers, your trusted partners in education who would help you to find your truths, who will help you to find your story. And which is why these opportunities are so critical. I owe my entire love and passion for media, for communication and public speaking to my school. It was in 5th grade that my teacher had first told me that your voice sounds good on microphone. Till date, I have not left the microphone, and I grab the opportunities whenever I get for public speaking. So, my dear students, you are extremely lucky and blessed that you have schools, trusted spaces that are giving you these opportunities. Grab them. There are no judgments in schools. You are allowed to make mistakes. Trust me, nobody will judge you the way you'll be judged in your professional career. Sometimes you won't get these opportunities when you're out in the world making a career. Sometimes you have to create them for yourselves. But in your schools, you have it. So grab them. Trust your teachers who are there to tell you that you have this talent. Hone it. Don't be afraid of failures. Do not be afraid of failures, because as my co-judges also said, they shape you. They shape your stories. I've had many failures. I've had successes. But take it from our school anthem, what we are matters more than what we have. This motto, which is right there in our school anthem of SFS, it has guided me. So even in your failures, remember that who you are will take you places, because the other things would be tangible. Now, coming to a little bit on the topic, whether this is empowering classes and alienating masses. Very relevant topic. But one thing, as my co-judge also pointed out, we completely forget that whether it is the masses or classes, while digital platform opened up an entire world of possibilities, right? We survived the pandemic because this digital explosion gave us creativity. Mahavir Rawat, he's from mass media. Anuradha ma'am is from the education sector, and both of them rightly know the kind of possibilities digital medium opened up in both these sectors. I mean, I have done virtual shoots, which I never thought was possible. We've shot 60 contestants virtually, where people have produced themselves, they have shot themselves. While it opened up an entire world of opportunities, when it came to education, I have seen the struggle as a parent. I have 2 young kids. I have seen my son, my daughter. I have seen children who've at least managed to see their classmates, their teachers. I've seen teachers who wonderfully, navigated these tough times. But the challenges of parenting, the challenges of digital platforms does not go away. So it's important to find a balance, to grab those opportunities, those creative solutions that digital medium is offering you, but also to identify the challenges and know that nothing can replace connectivity and what your teacher can do for you in person. Nothing can change. And remember that all these digital solutions have also been made by people. So if it was not for the will of the people, if it was not for the will of the educators to find a solution for their teachers, all of this would have not made any sense. So nothing can replace that. Nothing can replace the critical judgment of a human being. But take what the digital medium is giving you and find a balance to how to aid it for education. All right. I leave you with that thought, and I leave you with a quote which says that tomorrow's illiterate will not be the person who cannot read or write, but will be the person who cannot learn, relearn, or unlearn. So remember, friends, possibilities and opportunities are changing. Be open to learning, relearning, and unlearning. Thank you so much for making me a part of this. To all the organizers, to teacher in charges, Reverend Father Principal, and all the priests and all of the sisters who have organized this contest and competition and made me a small part of it. Thank you so much.
Despite being so far, yet so near, this is the beauty of connecting digitally. Sharon ma'am, you truly have bridged those miles between India and the US. Thank you so much. You are such an inspiration. And now it's time for the much awaited results. I request our senior coordinator, Monica Kapoor ma'am, to declare the results.
A little progress each day adds up to big results. Greetings, regards, and a very pleasant morning to our Honorable Superior General of the Congregation of MSFS, Reverend Father Abraham, Provincial of Nagpur Province, Reverend Father Muthuswamy, General Counselor in charge of Education, Reverend Father Jacob, Director SFS Delhi, Reverend Father Domi, Principal SFS Delhi, Reverend Father Anthony, Office Administrator, SFS Delhi, Reverend Father Peter, respected Father Councillors of the 7 provinces of India, respected sisters, esteemed judges, Dr. Anuradha, Shri Mahavir and Miss Sharon, teachers in charge, and young debaters of participant schools from different provinces across the country, dear parents, teachers, and students. It's a great moment of pride for all of us as the 2nd All India Father Peter Mermier Inter-Province Debate Competition 2021 hosted by St. Francis de Sales Senior Secondary School, New Delhi has just seen its culmination. This has been an incredible journey of a concept becoming a reality with the huge investment of meticulous planning, coordination, time, energy, and enthusiasm from selections to the finals. The laudable efforts of the entire SFS family across the country has today borne results. Heartiest congratulations to all our young debaters and interjectors who honed their debating skills and have created a kaleidoscope of opinions, thoughts, perspectives, and voiced their well-researched debates with confidence and enthusiasm on this global platform on a very relevant topic: digital learning, empowering the classes, alienating the masses. And now comes the moment we all have been waiting for excitedly: the declaration of the results of the second All India Father Peter Mermier Inter-Province Debate Competition 2021. A dream does not become a reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. It's time for appreciation and announcing the name of the interjector bagging the second prize and receiving a cash prize of rupees 2,000 and an e-certificate. And the proud winner is Udipana Mohanto of St. Francis de Sales Higher Secondary School, Narangi, Guwahati, Assam, from Guwahati Province. Congratulations, Udipana. And now moving on to the winner of the Best Interjector, first prize. The proud recipient of this prize is Ruben Fume of SFS Higher Secondary School, Nagaland, from Dibrugarh Province. Ruben receives a cash prize of rupees 2,500 and an e-certificate. Congratulations, Ruben. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for our prize winners. I'm sure the excitement is building up as I'm ready to announce the next set of prizes. Here is the winner of the second Best Speaker Prize for the motion, and the proud recipient is S. Krisha Khushi of St. Francis de Sales Public School, ICSC and ISC, Bangalore, from Southwest Province. She receives a cash prize of rupees 3,000 and an e-certificate. Well done, Krisha. The prize for the second Best Speaker against the motion is bagged by, any guess? Harjot Singh Sandhu of St. John's High School, Nagpur, Maharashtra, from Nagpur Province. Harjot receives a cash prize of rupees 3,000 and an e-certificate. Congratulations, Harjot. And finally, we have the prizes for the best speakers. Did you miss a heartbeat? Is your heart pounding? Well, the wait is over. The Best Speaker Prize for the motion is bagged by the winner, who receives a cash prize of rupees 5,000 and an e-certificate. And the prize goes to Anushka Satyajit Sarangi of St. Francis de Sales School, Shanwadi, Pune, from Pune province. Congratulations, Anushka. And we have the Best Speaker Prize against the motion. Any guesses? This prize goes to Aryan Ashish, once again of St. Francis de Sales Public School, ICSC and ISC Bangalore from Southwest Province. Aryan receives a cash prize of rupees 5,000 and a certificate of merit. Let's put our hands together for all the proud recipients of the coveted prizes. We thank and hope that all the MSFS schools will always continue extending their wholehearted support and cooperation to us for hosting many more editions of such grand events. Thank you all.
I now request the head boy, Jonathan Emmanuel, to propose the vote of thanks.
Gratitude, that is thankfulness, is a way of life. It is an attitude that holds the power to transform lives. As we come to the end of this riveting session, I thank the Almighty for its smooth conduct on this virtual platform. On behalf of the Francilian family, it is my proud privilege to propose the vote of thanks. First and foremost, we would like to thank our distinguished panel of judges, Professor Anuradha Jain, Mr. Mahavir Singh Rawat, and Ms. Sharon Sebastian for sparing their valuable time to judge the debaters and for their kind words of motivation. We express our gratitude to the Superior General of the Congregation of MSFS, Reverend Father Abraham Vetuvelil, Provincial of Nagpur Province, Reverend Father John Brito Muthuswamy, General Counselor in charge of Education, Reverend Father Jacob Karmakuir. We are greatly encouraged by your inspiring words that has radiated a source of energy within us. We sincerely thank our Director, Reverend Father Domi Thomas, our Principal, Reverend Father Anthony Amaladas, our Office Administrator, Reverend Father Peter Thomas, and our Headmistress, Sister Juan Pinto, for being the pillars of strength to all the students and for honoring us with your gracious presence. We earnestly thank the teachers in charge and students from all the 7 provinces across India for participating in this event and making it a grand success. Our heartfelt appreciation goes out to our coordinators, teachers, and students from our Francilian fraternity for their boundless support to this extraordinary endeavor. Our sincerest appreciation and gratitude to our dearest parents for their support towards this pursuit of their awards. We very specially thank the technical team for working tirelessly to ensure the smooth functioning of the program. I thank you all once again. Have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you, Jonathan. I now request everybody to rise for the national anthem.
शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष
Debate is the quest to unravel a better truth amongst the various facets of the truths brought forth by the debaters. This is what we have achieved today. Thank you so much for being a part of this historic venture. Have a great day ahead.